Hi, I'm David Davis from Actual Tech Media. We're live here at VMworld 2018. I'm excited to be joined by Mr. Ken White. How you doing, Ken?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for being on. So Ken is from Cumulus Networks, and we're here to talk a little bit about Cumulus and open networking. So let's start off with just a basic level setting question. Who is Cumulus Networks?
So Cumulus Networks was a pioneer in open networking white box. Company started in 2008 by J.R. Rivers. J.R. was a fellow at Cisco and moved on from there to Google. And at Google had a chance to look around and see what web scale networking can do for TCOs and ROIs, and taking a bare metal switch and a Linux operating system on top of that and creating an environment, a disaggregated environment. And really that thought, if you bring it up until today, of creating competition in the market. So working with different bare metal vendors, switch vendors, as well as optics and our Linux operating system on top of that, creates efficiencies and drives prices down. And that drives TCOs, and of course having a homogeneity in the switch to server Linux environment creates efficiencies as well with return on investment. So I think having that original vision from Google, looking at what Facebook was doing, and then taking that into the enterprise, we've come a long way and really have made some great progress along the way.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, in the past with like traditional servers, there was like Windows operating systems, and there was just a couple of server vendors, and pretty much you almost had to buy from those right. Two server vendors. Today there's many different server vendors, and you can run Linux in many different flavors, and there's a lot of choice. But in the networking space today, there's still not a lot of choice, and that's what you guys are creating.
Well, yeah, I don't think you have to be a Nobel laureate in economics to understand market efficiencies, and when you have more suppliers in the market, that drives down prices. Right. So by having a myriad of different bare metal switch vendors you can now choose in a disaggregated fashion, you can lower your prices and create those TCOs. And looking at the old black box way, the monolithic way of doing things, the Junipers and the Ciscos, and even Aristas for that matter, they're closed environments, right? And this is a little tongue-in-cheek, but would you like a closed environment or an open environment? Right. So I think the efficiencies that come along with that and driving those prices down, and most of the customers I talk to, quite frankly, in the enterprise, they want a dual vendor strategy. They want a multi-vendor strategy. The days of just having that myopia of working with one vendor are going the way of traditional black box ways of doing things.
Absolutely. So Cumulus Linux is a Linux operating system you load on the white box switches, and essentially can replace a traditional switch that you have in your wiring closet or in the data center.
Absolutely. Our operating system provides a robust feature functionality. In fact, I would say layer 3 is our wheelhouse. The engineers that we have working on layer 3 and the things we're doing with layer 3 and the agility and the velocity we can provide within the market are those core set of features and functionalities is unmatched.
Okay. So for, let's say, a Cisco admin today, if they're interested in using Cumulus or replacing maybe some aging Cisco infrastructure with Cumulus, what's the learning curve to get started with it?
The learning curve is easy, right? And we've made it easier. Yeah. It wasn't that way. I would say you have kind of the old guard, the Praetorian Guard at companies and enterprises that they know Cisco, they know Juniper, and that's what they're comfortable with. I think what we're seeing though is a learning curve that's accelerating. We're seeing a comfort level among network engineers, among IT directors that are more comfortable with Linux. And when you have that happening and you look to your left and you look to your right, and your colleagues and your peers at different companies are moving forward with an open networking white box strategy, I think the cover your the whole risk premium, risk aversion goes way down right there. And so I see that the ease with which you can kind of have comfort within this grows. We also have a VX version, a VM version, so you can kick the tires on. We have Cumulus in the cloud, so you can actually tear down, build up environments in the cloud. And so you have that comfort level that goes along with that.
So I don't have to buy any hardware. I don't have to buy a white box switch to try out Cumulus. I can do it in the cloud at no cost. I can run it as a virtual machine in vSphere or in VMware Fusion or Workstation on my desktop. Makes
Absolutely.
it very easy, low barrier.
Absolutely, and if you have some bare metal sitting around your environment, we can just cut you a POC license as well. So since it's software, it's easy, it's agile, it creates an environment where you can test things in an accelerated fashion.
Yeah, and what I learned actually about while writing this book, Linux Networking 101, is that there's very little Linux, I would say, required to actually administer a Cumulus Linux infrastructure. You all have the NCLI, the network command line interface tool that makes network administration easy. Just like
we've bridged the gap from the old CLI way of doing things from Cisco, Juniper, and we made that comfort level and accelerated that with the NCLI. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to learning more about Cumulus, and I know the audience watching, if you want to learn more, try it out for yourself, visit cumulusnetworks.com. Thanks so much for your visit today, Ken.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.